Hey everybody! The video you're about to watch details the making of Angels on Your Pillow. So many loved ones that I had that were battling cancer at the time this video was made, about 2.5 years ago, shared their stories, their hopes, their fears, their challenges with me as they went through their battle with cancer. And while I may have written the lyrics, ultimately they were the ones that wrote the song. Cancer is an ugly disease, and no one deserves to go through that. No one. So I would ask, if you're in a position to make a charitable contribution, consider contributing to the American Cancer Society, because it's time that cancer goes away. Thank you so much, as always, for your continued support of what I love to do down here in my studio. And I hope you enjoy the making of Angels on Your Pillow. Hey everybody. I wanted to do a little video. Some things as they always do in life, some things came up and led to an inspiration that I would like to share. The past 18 months have been really challenging from the standpoint of friendship, family, and things happening to the people that you love. It all started off with a coworker that shared with me that she had been diagnosed with cancer. And the hits didn't stop rolling there. Since then, there have been too many people that are or have fought with this disease. And it all kind of came to a head at the end of last year. And listening to these people's stories, all of them, there's common threads throughout. There are things that are very unique to each of them. Some of the people are very science-based, some of the people are very faith-based, some of the people are in the middle. But the commonality of everything that everyone is going through, each of you, is awe-inspiring, both from the negativity of the disease and from the positivity that each of you has displayed. So, as many of you know, November last year I got struck with the vid. My struggles with that are ongoing, but pale in comparison to everything you guys are going through. But it left me with a little bit of time to really hear everything that you guys are saying. Every word. And in December, there came a point where I had talked with 3 of you all on the same day. And as much as I was trying to be a good, supportive friend, it really took me to a dark place. And I haven't written music in 20 years. And when I did in my previous musical life, I never shared the meaning of any of those songs with anybody, because to me, a song with lyrics and music can have different meanings to different people. This one really had the intention of being directed towards a particular group of people that are all sharing, unfortunately, a similar fight. So I sat down with a notepad and a pen and started writing down those words that I heard each of you say. And again, common threads, fear was a big one. everybody was scared. But there were uniquenesses to some of the things that each of you said that really had an impact on me. And I'd like to share with you how this kind of all came together. So that evening in December, I sat down and started writing this stuff, pulling out those key phrases that people had used, and started to organize my thoughts as to how I could write something. I didn't intend it to be music at the time. How I could write something that would be significant, that would really capture everything you guys had told me and shared with me, which I so appreciate. And surprisingly enough, in about 35 minutes, I had the bulk of what now is here in front of me written down, but I thought it was really goofy. So I let it sit, and came back to it a week or two later, and it didn't seem so goofy anymore, because it was a true reflection of our conversations. But there were still pieces of it that were missing, that I couldn't articulate the discussions that we had had. So I let that sit for a little while longer, and somewhere between COVID headaches, I came down here to the studio and started fiddling with a little bit of a melody. And the main melody for the verse came pretty quick. But, typical music construction is that there's a bridge which is different musically than the verse, and the chorus is musically different than either of the other two. And I couldn't come up with anything on that. So I kind of thought that maybe what I would do is just a 4-chord progression with the same 4 chords all the way through, and use other elements to make it feel as if there was a bridge and make it feel as if there was a chorus. And that's the way I started laying it down. It turned out to be a lot more than that, but really what I want to focus on is how the lyrics came about. So, I started off by thinking of each of you and how I heard the news. So the first line is, "In a message that I received from you, I could hear the smile slide from your face, the pain you're going through." And almost with everybody that told me this, the conversation started off with, "Hey, how are you doing? By the way." And with a lot of these people, we were on the phone, and I could hear the expression on your faces change. When I was talking with Rachel, who just started a huge new chapter in her life, she used the word that also made it into this, that, paraphrasing, her best laid plans had to be rearranged. So in the next line, "In a moment, all that you knew had changed, the life you'd grown to know and love has all been rearranged." This happened to all of you. Wasn't just Rachel. Again, the common thread of fear made its way into the bridge, where fear is calling. That's something that just grabs you. We've all been scared. We've all been afraid. We've all had stuff happen, whether it's for us or for somebody else. And that fear paralyzes you. It tries to take something from you. So I continued with trying to steal away from you the meaning of your life. And that's a pretty downer thing. It's a pretty negative thing. It's a pretty bad place to go. So I wanted to try and think of something, at least for me, from my perspective, that is rejuvenating. And usually that's a good night's rest. So the next line is, the dark is coming, close your eyes, and you will find the light you have inside. And that certainly is not meant as any kind of reference to death. That thought crossed my mind, that people could interpret it that way. What it's meant is that we all have the ability to be positive and think on the bright side, the glass half full. Things that I'm accused of in my life that I really try and hold on to, because I think it's important. And that's really where I wanted that reference to go. Each of you knew that you had a fight coming. And some of you that have completed your treatment already, that fight's done, and you're blessed that it was successful. We're all blessed because we get to keep you as family and friends. But another word that caught my attention, if you would, I was with Laura when she was telling her folks about her diagnosis. And at the end of that call, there's actually something that comes before that, but I'll get to that in a little bit. At the end of that call, I put my arm around her and she said, "Wow. I'll handle it with grace." Her faith is very important to her. And grace is a word that she likes to use a lot. So for the beginning of the second verse, I said, now you're looking at the challenge that you face, and you reach for strength and solitude to keep you in your grace. Everything's changing for each of you at this point. So the next line came easy, and you're staring at the turning of the tide. The next two lines didn't come until the song was just about done. I had everything recorded except for these two lines and one guitar part. And it came to me later on, you're staring at the turning of the tide. Someone mentioned that even though they had the support system around them, they felt so alone. And that gave me the inspiration of feeling all alone tonight. There's an army by your side. And whether that army is family or friends or faith, there's always people there with you. And I think you would all agree. The next bridge is the same as the first, but I changed some of the words around. Instead of fear is calling being first, I wanted to say fear is coming. Because at this point, it becomes part of your life, and you know it's there. But as you progress through the news of having this diagnosis and start to move towards treatment, hopefully, what I would like to think is that the fear becomes a lesser part of your experience, and that positivity becomes a greater part. So I wanted to acknowledge that the fear is there, but emphasize that there will come a time where that positivity is going to dominate over that fear. So I said, fear is coming, trying to steal away from you the meaning of your life. The dark is calling. Close your eyes, and you will find the light you have inside. So from there, I wanted, again, thinking this was going to be an acoustic, mostly acoustic song, I wanted something that was a little bit more energetic and a little bit more uplifting. So I thought, hey, let's do a chorus, and let's have a lot of harmonies in there. I love harmonies. And let's use voices to really fill this out. Because all of you have voices all around you of your family and your friends and your faith. So I wanted to use that element to really bring the chorus to life a little bit. Where the chorus came from was what I referred to earlier after Laura had told her parents about her diagnosis. At the end of that call, her folks said something that I have learned is kind of a common phrase in their family, and that is, angels on your pillow. Powerful. It's really powerful. And I couldn't let that go. So it's the beginning of the chorus, and subsequently became the namesake of the song. Angels on your pillow as you close your eyes. Tomorrow brings another chance to help you realize. And this is a tie-in to that light and that positivity. I wanted to kind of circle back to that, a new day brings with it new possibilities and new opportunities, and the ability for us to reflect on the day or the week or the month we had before and adjust if we need to for the situations that we're facing. From there, I wanted to tie. I'm not a super religious person, spiritual, I would say for sure. But I wanted to tie some of those faith-based references that I could substantiate as good elements for the meaning of the lyrics. So I asked the Google, what are some passages that have to do with fear? And ultimately, there's a lot, but ultimately what I came up with was Isaiah 41:10, modified slightly to say, "Fear not, I am with you. Be not dismayed. I am here to strengthen you, to hold you in my hand." And again, I wanted that little chorus there to be big. The lyrics from there are pretty much unchanged throughout the rest of the song. And again, I did want to change the texture up a little bit. So on some of the subsequent choruses, it'll be, the fear bridge underlaying the Angels on Your Pillow chorus. And then on a subsequent chorus, I switched it up a little bit. But I needed something else to make a pseudo-chorus or pseudo-bridge, whatever you want to call it, pre-chorus, something. And I thought about, I guess, a triple entendre, if you will, maybe a quadruple entendre. That's a big word. Sorry. I think about times that I have been in church and watched people in church. And, the modern day churches with the music are pretty cool. But people still get in there, and in the moment of the music and in the moment of their faith, they raise their hands. Another reference that I thought about was, you're in the middle of this fight for your life. Don't take it sitting down, if you will. Bring the hands up, get yourself moving. Go a little Joe Frazier. Fight. And then the third one that crossed my mind is dancing. What do we do when we dance? What do we do when we're celebrating? For those people that have been through this fight already and have survived, that celebration is important. And we put our hands up. We move our hands around. We dance, even if you do the boxer dance, right, guys? We put our hands up. So I wanted to incorporate that in there, and that's where raise your hands came from. So raise your hands, and then harmony ooze after that. And that continues through the last chorus. And then I wanted to end the very last part of the song with a little bit of positivity. And I just changed one line, trying to steal away from you the meaning of your life, to never let it take from you the meaning of your life. I haven't been through this, but I have to believe, watching people that have, that that's an important message. So many, I mentioned a couple people by name. So many different people that were the inspiration for this. Thank you for letting me be a friend and sharing your stories with me. Christina, Eric, Brad, Tim's daughter, Carrie. Talk about a kick in the balls. Laura, Rachel, and Walt Gibbs. Not me, Walt Gibbs. Some survivors in there, some people that are going through the fight now. And of course, we always remember the people we lost. So my mom and Dale. It's for you. Never let it take from you the meaning of your